And in today's video, what I want to do is talk about why sometimes your business needs to get smaller before you can really start to grow and scale up. So, what I want to do just quickly is just outline why this is such an issue, because I often come across business owners and their businesses are growing, 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 and they are just absolutely exhausted. They're running around like headless chickens. They don't know what they need to do next. And a lot of the time they're dropping the ball, and because of that, their reputation is suffering and they're losing good team members. So, what I want to do is just explain what went wrong there, and then a better way to potentially do it. So, essentially, there is there are foundations every good business that needs in place, and these foundations are really, really important in scaling. So quite often businesses that grow too fast and don't put these foundations in have several problems. Firstly, they can't get the right team. Secondly, they're not getting the right kind of customers that they really want to be working with and they can be effective and deliver a great service for. And then thirdly, they're not getting the right kind of pricing. And all of these things work together to make this business owner's life hell. So if you think about it, pricing and not the right kind of customer and not the right kind of team, they're all linked, because if you can't get your prices right, you can't get the right kind of people in your business, you can't pay them what they need to. And if you're not getting the right kind of customer, they're not going to pay the right kind of prices, and you're not going to deliver the right kind of value. So just as an overview, these three foundations are so crucial. And what actually happens is once your business gets too big and you're just completely exhausted running it, it can be really hard to then rebuild these foundations, because you just don't have time to do it, because building these foundations takes time. So the only thing you can do at that stage is, and let's face it, you've probably got quite big because you've been doing quite a good job for your customers, even though you might be dropping the ball a bit now. But the reality is you built up a good reputation. It may have been because you're a bit too cheap as well, but the combination of being cheap and doing a good job probably amounted to you being really, really good value. And then that's why your business grew and grew and grew. So what you've got to do though is, the only way you're going to be able to go backwards and fix these foundations so then you can probably start growing, is you're going to have to regain the initiative somehow. So there's a couple of ways to, or a few ways maybe to do it, but one of the ways is essentially you could get really good team members in, but without a culture in place and without the ability to pay a lot, that's probably not going to happen. The other way to do it is you could just start saying no to a certain type of customer and just focus on this one type of customer that you work really, really well with. That's easier to deal with. But the chances are, unless you've got like a really solid solution for them and or a really low price for them, which would affect other parts of your business, you're not going to be able to do that either. So the only one thing you can do in this situation is you have to go back and put your prices up. And what will happen is it'll be a really scary time for your business, because what will happen is you will lose customers. But what I'm almost certain will happen is you will not lose as many customers as you thought you would lose. So, and this is always the case. Whenever I see a client reprice their services, they've just got this thing built up in their mind that they're just going to lose like all of their customers or half of their customers. It never happens that way. Even when we've seen people do drastic price increases, they still end up making more money than they were before, even though they've lost quite a lot of customers. So let's face it, these customers are relationships you built up over time. So it's never nice to lose a customer. It's almost a feeling of personal rejection in some ways. But by losing that customer, what it's going to do is it's going to free up your time. But because you're charging more overall anyway, the chances are you're going to be able to maintain your sales figure, which means you're going to free up even more time in your business, so you can then go back and rebuild the foundations. And then once you've rebuilt the foundations, you're going to be able to get a great team because you've got great culture. And also you've got great pricing because you're going to be able to pay that team well. You're going to be able to work with the right kind of customer, because the right kind of customers can see how that solution that you built will really help them. And because you've got this really good solution for that type of customer, you are then going to be able to charge what you really need to charge to then drive the business forward. And then you can grow on those foundations. So firstly, you've got to get smaller, and best way to get smaller is just put your prices up. And then once you've done that, then that's when you can get everything in place and start growing. if you want a bit of help in how to actually manage and implement that kind of strategy, then get in touch with me. If you go to our website, naccounting.co.uk, you can book yourself in for a free strategy session, and that will explain the next steps. But if you're overwhelmed and if you're underpaid and you don't have the right team around you, then it's because you've gone too far forward. Then you need to retrace your steps a bit, build the right foundations, and then keep growing. So definitely take me up on that offer of a free session, and I will see you soon.